Hello farm family, welcome back to another video. It is a beautiful day in early February. It's in the mid-70s. Mr. Bourne is taking a peaceful nap. This is a welcome relief after the freezing temperatures that we had just this past week, actually. I know many of you have probably been impacted by the horrible winter storms we've been getting here in the States. But anyway, let's get into it. So in today's video, we're going to be talking about a project that I completed this past August. So what was here before when I purchased the property was a traditional 5-strand barbed wire fence. And that fence line was very old. So the T-posts had begun to rot away underground, and the barbed wire itself was also starting to rust and had been spliced about 15-20 times. So anytime livestock would come up here and press on the fence or challenge the integrity of that fence, barbed wire would snap and I'd have to come out here and splice it again. So it was time to do something about it. So today I thought we would talk about the materials that I used, some tips, some common fencing practices. So let's get into it. Mr. Bourne has adjusted his napping position. There you go, look cute. Excuse me. So I am fortunate enough to live close to a timber mill. So that fence post company, they actually mill all of their own fence posts and they hot treat them on the spot. So what that means is the quality of these fence posts is way better than anything that you would find at like Tractor Supply, Lowe's, Home Depot, any sort of big box traditional farming store. The other great thing about being able to purchase your fence posts from an actual timber mill is that surprisingly, the price for those posts is going to be very comparable to your big box store, but you're going to have different size options and the quality is going to be way better. So for example, when I went to the mill, I was able to choose from 5, 6, 8, 10, and 12-inch diameter posts, and I was also able to choose from 8-foot, 10-foot, and 12-foot lengths as well. So that would be my first tip, is to look and see if you can drive to a local timber mill, and if they do sell to the public, I would really recommend that you get your fence posts from there. They're gonna last longer and you're gonna have more options to support your farming needs. So what did I end up purchasing while I was there? I have a 10-inch diameter, 8-foot long post on the side of the H brace that the gate is leaning off of. I then have an 8-inch diameter post on the opposite end of the H brace. And just for reference, my high tensile wire is pulling this direction. If I had to do this over again, I would have run my high tensile wire from this corner to the gate. But at the time I did this project, the other fence line was not clear. So I wasn't able to access that side. The horizontal post here, that's a 6-inch diameter. Now, what I used to connect the horizontal post to the vertical for your H brace, I bought I think it was a 2-foot long section of galvanized steel rod. It was a 1/2 inch diameter, and I cut that into a 10-inch section. And that 10-inch galvanized rod, I actually sprayed it with another coating of, oh, now I can't think of the name of the product. I think it's by Rust-Oleum. They make another galvanized spray because I wanted to make sure it was extra protected. But I drilled a 5-inch hole into the center of my vertical post here. I drilled a 5-inch hole into the center of my horizontal post, and I put one end of the rod in the hole here, and then I lifted up my horizontal post and threaded it onto the end of the steel rod that was sticking out. And you can see that we're pretty darn flush here. As added support, I also purchased these galvanized R collars. I actually got these off Amazon, and I secured them to the underside of the horizontal and the vertical post with galvanized nails. I believe these were hot dipped, and I think I used 1 1/4 inch. So just some extra support there as well, in case livestock tries to come up and push on this or any pressure is applied. Now, typically in a traditional H-brace setting, you'll see folks use, you can buy high tensile galvanized wire, and then you'll use a rod, and you'll see people twist it until it can't twist anymore. Actually, I think I have an old one up here. Yep, here we go. So here's what you would see in a traditional H-brace. You would see some sort of metal rod inserted into multiple strands of high tensile, usually 10 or 12 gauge wire, and then you twist around and around and around. And that's what helps provide equal tension to both of your vertical posts. Now, that certainly works, but I find that it's also a very dangerous method. So if that rod happens to slip while you're twisting it, you could get hit in the face, you could get seriously injured. So I decided to try a different method, and I've been really happy with the results so far. So I purchased, you can find them on Amazon, or I think Tractor Supply has them too. So this is a Beckert gripple kit, and it comes with a 16.5-foot long 5/32-inch steel cable, and then it comes with this large gripple, and you use their torque tensioning tool to apply tension, and that serves as your cross tension wire. So super easy to use and install, was much more time efficient than trying to maybe use that traditional method. And then up here at the top, I have a 1 1/4 inch, I believe these were, dispensing staple to keep that brace wire from actually slipping down. So setting the posts, general rule of thumb, you want at least 1/3 of your vertical height underground. So if you're working with an 8-foot tall post, then just over 3 feet should be underground. So I dug my holes 43 inches deep. And there is a 2-inch layer of limestone gravel in the bottom to help with drainage. I did not use concrete to set these. Farm family, if you are using concrete as a shortcut to set your pressure treated posts, please stop. Concrete will trap moisture, and even though your posts are treated, it will still deteriorate them over time. And let's be honest, you want to spend fun on the farm. You don't want to have fun redoing your fence line because concrete ate away at your posts and rotted them away underground. So take the time, dig your holes to the proper depth. This thing is not going anywhere. Now, because I do have really heavy clay soil here in East Texas, I did, as I was backfilling that hole and tamping it down in layers, I did add some limestone gravel, again, just to help with drainage when we get really heavy rainstorms. I don't want to encourage water to sit and pool around this post. So since I had already put the effort into digging the hole, it just seemed to make sense to go ahead and backfill with some gravel mixed in to help disperse that water away. All right, so let's talk about the gate here. So this is a Prefert 14-foot long, heavy-duty tube panel gate. So it's constructed of 16.5 gauge steel, and it weighs roughly 114 pounds. And I knew I wanted a heavy-duty gate because I expect this area will get a lot of traffic over the upcoming years as we work on the farm. And I also anticipate that livestock will probably crowd in this area as we're opening and closing the gate. I did go with a 14-foot wide gate because I wanted to accommodate any tractors, tractor attachments, trailers, building materials that we may be passing back and forth. So I wanted to make sure I had plenty of clearance without actually hitting my braces here. Now, because of the weight of the gate, I did decide to go ahead and invest in purchasing a farm gate wheel to help prevent this end from sagging. And I'll put a link in the description below because I don't remember what the model of this was. But I'm pretty sure you can buy it on Amazon, Lowe's, Home Depot, probably any farm supply store has it. But it has a larger rubber wheel, and then the spring here will contract and expand as you're moving the gate over this uneven ground. Now, attaching it to my tube panel gate was a little tricky because this particular gate wheel is actually intended to be attached to like a wood gate. So you would attach it with screws. And that doesn't really work in this case. So what my workaround was, let's see if I can get a good angle here. Can I pass this through? Yeah, I think so. So I bought these U-bolts. I believe they were 2¼ inch U-bolts. And when you buy the U-bolt, in case you haven't purchased this type of hardware before, it does automatically come with the plate and the nuts. And I just attached it that way. And so far, it hasn't shifted on me. It seems to be holding up fine. But yeah, that's the farm gate wheel. I think it's serving its purpose, but again, time will tell. We'll see if it requires constant adjustment or not. So I thought I was done talking about the gate, but I actually have one more thing that I want to share. So when you purchase these farm panel gates, the width that you purchase is not the true width. So this is 14 feet, but if you were to run a tape measure from one end to the other, it actually measures 13.5 feet. So it's 5 inches shorter than the advertised description. And the purpose for that is to accommodate for gate swing. So the manufacturer assumes that you as the consumer are going to place from the, we'll say this is the inside of your post to the inside of your post. They assume that it's going to be a perfect 14-foot width. So to accommodate for gate clearance, they make their gate 5 inches shorter. Now, why is that important to know? One, if you are looking for a snugger fit for your gate, and we're just going to stick with the 14-foot width for this example, then you may want to consider the distance between your posts being slightly less than 14 feet. Now keep in mind, you have hardware on this side and you have your latch on this side. I actually did the exact opposite. So instead of moving my posts closer together, even though I knew this gate was going to be 5 inches shorter than 14 feet, I actually moved them out an extra 3 inches. So altogether, the width between my two posts is actually 14 feet and 6 inches. And that was intentional. I wanted to make sure, it was really important to me that I have plenty of clearance when I'm driving farm equipment through here. I am not concerned so much about my gate having a space or gap between where it latches and where it secures. Now, if you're running, small livestock, or if having this much space between your hardware and your post and your latch and your post, if that bothers you, you don't want that much space, then just move your posts closer together. But the takeaway here is that when you buy your gate, the advertised width is not the true width. Subtract 5 inches and take that into account when you're measuring the placement of your posts. You know what? I forgot to touch on something really important. So securing the gate to my H-brace. So this particular Preferred gate does come with 12-inch. You might hear these called gate bolts, J bolts. It's all kind of synonymous. It's basically a threaded bolt that has a washer and a nut on this end, and then it has another washer and nut on this end, and when you tighten the two ends together, it holds it secure so that there's no sagging. I did not use the threaded bolts that came with the Preferred gate, and here's the reasons why. One, the bolts that come with this gate are not galvanized, and I don't know why you would use a non-galvanized material outside on your farm with a gate. You know you're gonna get rain, you're gonna get sun, the bolt's gonna rust, and you're gonna have to end up replacing it. The other thing is that this treated post, even though on paper it says it's a 10-inch diameter, and in theory The bolt that came with the gate was 12 inches. This treated post is more like 11.5 inches. And what they don't tell you about the measurement of this bolt is they're measuring from here all the way to the end. So it's not like you have 12 inches of threaded bolt here. So if I had actually threaded the bolt that came with the gate through the post, it wouldn't have come out the other side. One, because this post is a little oversized, and the non-galvanized bolt that came with the gate was too short. So I went to a website called Anchor Bolt Express. I'll have it linked in the description below. Guys, if you have farm gates on your property, this is a farmer's paradise for picking up different bolts, not just for gates, but just all around for your farm. So they sell these J-bolts in 1/2 inch, 5/8, 3/4, and 1 inch diameters. And they come in 12 inch, 15 inch, 18, and 24 inch lengths. So I picked up 2 3/4 inch diameter, 18 inch long, hot galvanized bolts, and that's what I used for my gate. They were a little bit more expensive. I believe I paid, I think it was $32 a bolt, which I know that might sound really high for hardware, but when you think about how long this is gonna be here, and I don't wanna mess with this. I wanna put it on and be done with it. That to me is worth the 60 bucks in hardware. So I'll link the website in the description below. Super fast shipping. Very impressed with the quality of the product I got. My only regret is that they don't have a store locally that I can just pop into and make purchases from. All right, so let's talk about the gate latch. So I needed something that was not going to be easily opened by cows, horses, and donkeys. I also wanted something that was high quality, that wasn't gonna freeze over, and would also do well in the extreme temperature changes that we see here in East Texas. And this particular latch, it is forged by a gentleman that is, gosh, probably like an hour north of me, and I wish I could remember his name. I will put a link to his website in the description. This is the best gate latch that I have used. So to open it, you pull up, it drops, and then you just open your gate. To re-secure the latch, and I'm just using one finger here, guys, you just lift up and it locks into place. Let's do this again. So to release, and then to re-secure it, now if you were really worried about an animal being able to manipulate or pull up on this inner trigger bar, you could drill a hole through this top and this inner latch, and then you could just thread a bolt straight through there to prevent an animal or from unsecuring that. All right, so let's talk about the woven wire that I used. So this is just your standard red brand 11 gauge high tensile wire. This is the 39 inch tall option. They do make a 47 inch tall roll. So if you had a high headed animal, or if you didn't want to run barbed wire along the top, then you could certainly go with that other option. And then in terms of securing it to your posts, just use your hot galvanized, these are 1 1/4 inch fencing staples. You could use 1 1/2, but I think that would be overkill, and then 1 inch just felt a little short, so I went with 1 1/4. So that concludes today's video. I thought it would be fun to show the old T-posts that I had that were part of that original fence line. I actually forgot that I held on to these. You can see that this one in particular is all curved. Oh, too funny. But just look at the amount of rust that's built up on these. Flaking away, chipping. Yeah, it's time for those to go. Anyhow, I hope you enjoyed the video today. If you did, please give it a like, a thumbs up. If you have any questions on the materials that I used, or my thought process in the construction and replacement, please feel free to leave a comment. I'd love to hear from you, and I'll be happy to weigh in. And I think in an upcoming video, I'm gonna cover what I keep on hand for my fencing supplies, my fencing bucket, if you will. So stay tuned for that. That'll be coming soon. Thanks, y'all. Have a great day.